Well, hey kids, how are you? It's good to see you. So you were asking what kind of what kind of Sunday service this is. Well, it's just this. Everybody says, hey, it's kind of like church, so just a place where people can get together and a little music, a little meditation. I'll read a couple of chapters of the Psalms, and if you want to put your prayer requests there in the chat room, we'll just take a moment to pray for that as well. And then I'll send you on your way. Right? Pretty easy. Not even going to pass the offering bucket, although, if you feel like you want to, there's certainly that. So let's just, shall we do this? I think so. So what you were hearing, in case you were curious about that, right, is it's kind of the ringy-dingy sonic stuff I got going on with some little bit of music that I played just before I started the stream, and so I kind of put it all together. So it's 432 is the bass tuning, and I just, as it happens, most of my tuning forks and whatnot happen to be tuned to that. And this is one of my favorites here, is the sonic slider. Hang on, let me kind of get you going here. Anyway, it kind of comports with my whole philosophy of everything being a vibration and connected together in that way. And so, we'll just kind of put it all together, and I would invite you to, again, meditate sort of with me, right? As I read these, I'm going to begin in Psalms, the 34th chapter, and we'll do, I think, 34, 35, 36, and I'm going to skip to 49 and 50, if you don't mind. And it's from a study edition translation called Berean Bible, so it's not that big a deal. It's a lot like NIV, but all right. So yeah, make sure I see you, Kevlar, and make sure I'll check all the chat log here before we start that segment. So if you're ready, let's begin. I'll turn the background music just a little bit down here. Let's see where it is in the. I could probably just move forward a little bit, right? Oh, there you go. Yeah, something like that. Well, move it. Gotta put it down there like that. All right. So, Psalms. Beginning chapter 34, verse 1. And tell me if the music is too loud, right? So, or too soft or whatever. Nice little background there. All right. Beginning in verse 1. I will bless the Lord at all times, and his praise will always be on my lips. My soul boasts in the Lord, and let the oppressed hear and rejoice. Magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he answered me, and he delivered me from all my fears. It slipped away. Yes, he delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant with joy. Their faces shall never be ashamed. This poor man called out, and the Lord heard him, and he saved him from all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them. Taste and see that the Lord is good, and blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Fear the Lord. Those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. Come, children, listen to me. I will teach you the fear of the Lord. Who is the man who delights in his life and who desires to see good days? So keep your tongue from evil and your lips from deceitful speech. Turn away from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it. But the face of the Lord is against those who do evil, and to wipe out all memory of them from the earth. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. He saves the contrite in spirit. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him from them all. He protects all his bones, and not a one of them will be broken. Evil will slay the wicked, and the haters of the righteous will be condemned. The Lord redeems his servants, and none who take refuge in him will be condemned. Psalm 35. Contend with my opponents, O Lord. Fight against those who fight against me. Take up your shield and your buckler. Arise and come to my aid. Draw the spear and javelin against my pursuers, and say to my soul, I am your salvation. May those who seek my life be disgraced and put to shame. May those who plan to harm me be driven back and confounded. May they be like chaff in the wind. As the angel of the Lord drives them away, may their path be dark and slick as the angel of the Lord pursues them. For without cause they laid their net for me, and without reason they dug a pit for my soul. May ruin befall them by surprise. May the net they hid ensnare them. May they fall into the hazard they created. Then will my soul rejoice in the Lord and exult in his salvation. All my bones will exclaim, Who is like you, O Lord? Who delivers the afflicted from the aggressor, the poor and needy from the robber? Hostile witnesses come forward. They make charges I know nothing about. They repay me evil for good to the bereavement of my soul. Yet when they were ill, I put on sackcloth. I humbled myself with fasting. But my prayers return unanswered. I paced about as for my friend or brother. I was bowed down with grief, like one mourning for his own mother. But when I stumbled, they assembled in glee. They gathered together against me. Assailants I didn't even know slandered me without ceasing. Like godless jesters at a feast, they gnashed their teeth at me. How long, O Lord, will you look on? Rescue my soul from their ravages, my precious life from those lions. Let not my enemies gloat over me without cause, nor those who hate me without reason. They wink in malice. They don't speak peace. They devise deceitful schemes against those who live quietly in the land. They gape at me and say, Aha, our eyes have seen it. O Lord, you've seen it. Be not silent. O Lord, be not far from me. Arise, rise to my defense, to my cause. God, my Lord, vindicate me by your righteousness, O Lord my God. Do not let them gloat over me. Let them not say in their hearts, Aha, just what we wanted. Let them not say, We have swallowed him up. May those who gloat in my distress be ashamed, confounded. May those who exalt themselves over me be clothed in shame and reproach. May those who favor my vindication shout for joy and gladness, and may they always say, Exalted be the Lord, who delights in his servants' well-being. And then Psalm 36. An oracle is in my heart regarding the transgression of the wicked man. There's no fear of God before his eyes, for his eyes are too full of conceit to detect or hate his own sinfulness. The words of his mouth are wicked and deceitful, and he has ceased to be wise and well-doing. Even on his bed he plots wickedness. He sets himself on a path that is not good, and he fails to reject evil. Your loving devotion, Lord, reaches to the heavens, and your faithfulness to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the highest mountains, your judgments like the deepest sea. Oh, Lord, you preserve man and beast. How precious is your loving devotion, God, that the children of men take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from your river of delights. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. Extend your loving devotion to those who know you. Let not the foot of the proud come against me, nor the hand of the wicked drive me away. There the evildoers lie fallen, thrown down, and unable to rise. Psalm 49. Hear this, all you peoples. Listen, all inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor alike. My mouth will impart wisdom, and the meditation of my heart will bring understanding. I will incline my ear to a proverb and express this riddle with the harp. Why should I fear in times of trouble, when wicked usurpers surround me? They trust in their wealth and boast in their great riches, but no man can possibly redeem his brother or pay his ransom to God, for the redemption of his soul is costly, and can never payment suffice that he should live on forever and not see decay. For it is clear that wise men die, and the foolish and the senseless both perish. They leave their wealth to others, and their graves are their eternal homes, their dwelling for endless generations, even though their lands had their namesakes. But a man, despite his wealth, cannot endure. He is like beasts that perish. This is the fate of the self-confident and their followers who endorse their sayings. Like sheep, they're destined for Sheol. Death will be their shepherd. The upright will rule them in the morning, and their form will decay in Sheol, far from their lofty abode. But God, He will redeem my life from Sheol, for surely He will take me to Himself. Do not be amazed when a man goes rich, when the splendor of his house increases. For when he dies, he'll carry none of it with him. His abundance will not follow him down, though in his lifetime he blessed himself, and men praise you when you prosper. But he will join the generations of his fathers, who will never, and no understanding. It's just like the beasts that perish. Psalm 50. The mighty one, God, the Lord, speaks and summons the earth, from where the sun rises to where it sets. From Zion, perfect in beauty, God shines forth. Our God approaches and will not be silent. Consuming fire precedes him, and a tempest rages around him. He summons the heavens above and the earth that he may judge his people. Gather to me my saints who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And the heavens proclaim his righteousness, for God himself is judge. Hear, my people, listen, and I will speak. Israel, listen, I will testify against you. For God, your God, does not rebuke you for your sacrifices, and your burnt offerings are ever before him. But he has no need for a bull from your stall or goats from your pens. For every beast of the forest is his, and the cattle on 1,000 hills. See, he knows every bird on every mountain, and all the creatures of the field are his. If he were hungry, he wouldn't tell you. The world is his, and the entire fullness thereof. He asks, will I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Sacrifice a thank offering to God and fill your vows to the Most High. Call upon me in the day of trouble, and I will deliver you, and then you'll honor me. To the wicked, however, God says, what right have you to recite my statutes and to bear my covenant on your lips? For you hate my instructions, and you cast my words behind you. When you see a thief, you befriend him, and you throw your lot in with adulterers. You unleash your mouth for evil and unharness your tongue for deceit. You sit and malign your brother, slander your own mother's son. You've done these things, and I kept silent. You thought I was like you, but I rebuke you and accuse you to your face. Listen, you who forget God, lest you be torn to pieces with no interest. He will show the salvation of God. I just got to I'll just add another one here. Sorry. Going way back, almost to the beginning, Psalm 14. Since I have just a moment here extra, I'll add this one, and then we'll move on into some prayer requests. Psalm 14. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. Their acts are vile. There's no one who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven upon the souls of men to see if anybody understands, if they seek God, but all have turned away. They have come together to become corrupt. There's no one who does good, not even one. Will the workers of iniquity never learn? They devour my people like bread, and they refuse to call upon the Lord. And there they are, overwhelmed with dread, for God is in the company of the righteous. And you sinners frustrate the plans of the oppressed, yet the Lord is their shelter. When the Lord restores his captive people, they will be glad. Yes, we will. All right, so there we go. Our scripture reading for the day, just a few chapters there from the book of Psalms. I hope that you appreciated it and enjoyed it as much as did I. I always find a great deal of just about everything I want to find. Inspiration, courage, strength. Yep, it's all there. Okay, so let me try to zoom in here and see what y'all have. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm blind, and I have to make it more bigger. Let's see if I can do that. Can you do that? Can you make it more bigger? I need a thing like that. So, that. No, it's going smaller. Oh, gee. Here we go. Okay. Hi, Anne. And Gainer, and Mama Love, you're awesome. And Kevlar, dude, you are awesome. Man, I gotta say, I mean, so many people are struggling with, depression and loneliness in the last few years, and that's part of why I want to make sure to be here, right? Is I feel specifically, nudged by Dad to be a place, right, that this can happen. And it's not that I have really anything particularly special that I bring, right? Just, but to be a conduit, or if possible, right, a place where people can come together and experience and worship the Creator. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I know I love to do it, and I know I love to have you with me. So there you go. There you go. It's an opportunity to do that, and we'll try to get increasingly regular. I know that I was before, and I stepped away for a long time, as you know, probably already. Lots of health issues, trying to work it out. I'll do the best I can, and it is so kind of catch as catch can, right? Kevin is one of the most courageous and determined people to fight long-term depression. I hope I'm not, opening your mail in public, but he's been pretty open about that. But it's just a rock star, right? Always positive energy. Even when he's feeling low, he's always got a good word to say, and I really appreciate that. And he's a great guy, as is. Well, all of you guys are here. I could say great things about that, each of you, right? And maybe. Well, hey, Jim, what sort of Sunday service is this? Well, I hope that you found out. And Ann says, fresh music for the soul. Sure, you bet. It's there you go, Baldini Sunday service. So, I'm glad it. Okay, continue to pray for you in the depression. Man, you're on, like I saw I was there before. I even read it. That we want to add Kevin, to our prayers. Right, that there are so many people who need prayer, and here's again. I think I've probably said it before, because it's sort of like a saying that, right, that I repeat, is that when I pray for others, that Dad usually responds in with power and quickly. But when I pray for myself, far less so. And it's not because I imagine that he cares for me. And it looks like I'm lagging. I'll wait. So everything says it's okay. Okay, there we go. All right. No worries. So because I believe that from my understanding of him, that he created us, in fact, everything, to be in relationship. That's what he wanted, right? To be in relationship with us. And he made us like them, right? Let us make man in our own image, right? So that we could be like them, and we favor them, right, in so many ways, and we tend to think of that physically, but again, it's Scripture tells us that God is spirit, right? No man has seen him and lived to tell about it. Like I've been in his presence, and that was scary, and he didn't even really show himself, right? It's just like a kind of a liquid blue light thing, and that was enough to make me soil myself. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to fear of the Lord, and people kind of bug out about that, like, why should we be afraid of him? I'm like, well, if you'd encountered him, it's pretty awe-inspiring. You're like, oh dear, sorry, sir. Anyway, man, Kevin just grinding it out, and man, I love you for it. And he's got just, I'll keep, we'll add you to the list here as we do this. Anybody else have got anything? Pray for me. Okay, yes, thank you. I do, frequently. But I do, really, Michelle? Really? Like that is so hard. I'm so sorry. Right? Because I see, that's one of the things that breaks my heart, is seeing people who, have decided that they hurt so much that they don't want to be here anymore. And they can't, they just can't even anymore. And I have no judgment on that. I mean, I think I understand it. Because I've gone through it. My wife has gone through it longer than me. Well, and, I still have long-term intractable grief and depression. I don't struggle personally so much with that, but Michelle, so I guess that if I were to offer encouragement, and I do, right, I would want to offer encouragement. Right? It is that I can't promise you that sticking around any longer that the world is going to get better, right, or you'll feel better about anything. I can't promise that, right? In fact, it looks to me as if the world itself, right, will continue to be kind of icky. But at the end, right, the thing that we're promised, that both J-Bro and Dad promised us, right, is not that this walk would be easy. In fact, Jesus said very specifically, right, that in this life you will have trouble. And you'll have the most trouble because you'll be ostracized and hated. If you vibrate, on a frequency that is drawn to the light, when the entire rest of the world is at a differing frequency, that they're drawn to the darkness, right? Then you're going to be out of tune with them, out of phase, and then you're going to be lonely, right? In addition to being depressed. And if you haven't already, learned to spend real meditation time listening, not just talking to, and not just a mantra, and not just trying to quiet the voices. Oh, that's a great place to start, right? And one of the most difficult things to do. Michelle, I know so many people they're literally dying from loneliness. And I'm not kidding. There is a there's a word for it in Japanese, and it's a whole culture. And the young people between 20 and 30 years old, and they call it lonely deaths. You can look it up. I mean, it's very sad. And sometimes they aren't found until they just turn into, liquid. They're a fat stain, a stain of juice and fat, where there once was a very lonely human being who was so broken that they didn't even have the energy or the wherewithal or know who to call to pick up the phone, right, just to talk to somebody. And I think one of the most important things is that we not isolate ourselves, right? That we continue to surround each other, right? And help each other walk home. I think it's so important, right? Because purposelessness is, it's devastating. It's a killer. If you feel like you have no purpose, right? There's no reason to be here and no one cares. Then why suffer, right? Why continue to be here? And that is, I want to tell you, like a lie that's being whispered in your ear, and temptations of that sort, and being whispered to by the enemy is no reflection on you. He's going to do it to everybody, right? He wants to kill God's people, or anyone who shows interest. So, in the same, I call it like this, right? As if you're not responsible, right? If a bird flies through your hair But you do have a choice about whether you allow them to make a nest there, right, to stay there. So yes, yes. So Michelle, yes, this is what I want. So again, like if you've been following along, if you're a friend of the channel, right, you know that I have undergone the past few years some really severe and devastating health issues, and getting worse and not getting better, even though it took a long time to get to get a diagnosis, and then it just, as soon as I get that, there's another thing, right? Both progressive and degenerative neurological disorders, which appears to be working its magic to foreshorten my experience here and to make what's left of it very unpleasant, right? But I could complain and I could whine and cry about it, and occasionally, I do. Actually cry because it hurts. But more than that, I want to keep a positive attitude and ask for prayer, right? Again, that's why I ask others for prayer rather than just praying for myself, because I think we're supposed to share one another's burden. And I think that's what I see happening in chat right here, right now, right? That we're supposed to come together, right? And Michelle, if you have a number, I mean, I guess I'll be an interlocutor or whatever if you want to. If you're not comfortable in, sending a number or a contact information, you can send it to me. My email address is unintended.consequences3@gmail.com. It's in the show notes. You can just send me an email with all your deets, and I will put you in touch with anybody you want, including Mama Love. Oh, there it is, Mama Love. In fact, I'm going to copy it down as well, if you don't mind. And I will tell you this. I'm almost certain that as soon as this thing is over, I'm going to go lay down and crash really hard, because it takes just every ounce of energy to kind of do anything. So, but later in the day, I will absolutely, say later in the day would be in the evening, but I will absolutely give you a call. And I want to... again, encourage you. Yes, guys, reach out to each other. I will do it as well. But you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for making that connection and for being available. And this is what I want to see, right? Kind of, as I sneak in these terms, right? The duo, right? A do unto others, right? Because we can help each other many times in ways that we can't help ourselves, right? But if we come around each other and help one another, I think that we can help walk each other home, right? And I think it's important that we help one another. And I know that for me, it certainly helps get my mind off of my own troubles when I help someone else. It makes a difference. And I know that, additionally, giving is the whole giving better than receiving, right? It is. It's like, for me, I hate to use the word drug, but it is so addictive, right? To be able to experience, to have the experience of giving somebody something that they cannot, to see a need and fill it in a way that they cannot repay in any way, right? And again, not to make them powerless, but right to make it a gift. Right, that you give it to them, you let it go, whether it's an act of service or whether it's financial considerations or whatever it is, right? Sometimes it's, again, loneliness. You just sit and talk to them, right? Read a book together, watch a movie together, whatever, right? Talk about the crazy things, reminisce, right? Get to know each other. And that's part of the new thing that I'm trying here, right? Which is like this, whatever energy that I have left. Right, whatever Dad allows me to remain on this earth. Again, I just keep saying I want to live until I die, right? And so this whole idea is to do the bus king thing. See the joke? But getting an RV and driving around and meeting you guys and just going place to place and setting up and doing noodles just like I do here, and setting up some tables where people can meet and talk to each other in a very legitimate and honest, non-confrontational, non-adversarial way. Talk to someone that they don't know and learn about them and really find out what they're like, right? And you'll see that even and perhaps especially if your beliefs are different, but you'll find out that they're not so unlike you, right? We all kind of want some of the same things mostly, You want your kids to do well and be healthy, and you love your spouse, and you want a happy house, right? And most of us that are on this, in this space, right, we're pretty based. We don't need too much. We want the simple things. We just want to be left alone, mostly, to pursue, just living off the land. We don't want to be part of that rat race. There's nothing in it for us, right? Most of us. And so we just want to get together and have a little, hippie commune. Now, I know that they're not going to let us do that unimpeded, but I think we can get a start, and so, from the earlier question, what kind of Sunday service is this? I guess, right, over time, what I've discovered in the last several years as I've done this, right, is that, you can't trust everybody, right, that says yes, right, and only a friend or someone that you love can betray you, because otherwise, it's just an attack. It's not a betrayal. Betrayal only comes from someone that you love. Oh, Michelle, I'm so delighted. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you, Daddy, for that. And again, I just, if you're okay, I'm just gonna do this real quick. I'll just say, hey, Dad, thank you so much for these lovely, beautiful people, right, who come here to share with one another, right? Both the joy of being your friend and companion, but the joy of getting to know other people who are like-minded, who know you as well. And I'm so honored, right, that you would choose this choose me as a place that allow this for you to show up, and that your presence is mighty and powerful, and that you are the very definition of love, and that in the same way that you created us perfect, right? You created it for us, a perfect way to redeem what was lost, right? The world you gave to us, and we forfeited it, right? And ever since we keep saying, well, take it back and fix it, right? But if you did that, it was never a gift in the first place, right? It doesn't belong to him anymore. He gave it to us, and then we lost it, right? We were fooled out of it, but, right, he made a way to reconcile us and to get us back in relationship, right? So you don't have to trust me. In fact, I strongly suggest you don't take my word for it, right? Because, but Dad says, right, test me, see if I don't, right? And he says, a broken heart and a contrite spirit, he will not turn away. And so if your heart is turned toward the light in the same way that flowers turn to the sun, looking for the light and energy that makes them come alive, right? That's you. And so now you're seeking, right? So listen closely. And, just like a lover, he wants to sort of, be pursued. Let's see what you're like. Are you really serious, right? Or do you love, the God of power, or do you just want the power of God? So there's a difference. So he's looking for companions, right? People who will love him and trust him. I mean, again, he lays it sort of all out, right? In the in Scripture, if if you're looking to be offended, you can be offended by what it says. But if not, right? If you just want really to know who he is, let's see if I can find this real quickly. Because again, the psalmist David describes it. I'm just going to remember. Here we go. All right, Psalm 24. So let me zip back over to that. Ding, ding, ding. Sorry. There's a lot of psalms, so. All right. Get this into all right. So if you want to know what he's like, right? So here's my premise: that people who don't, who are uncomfortable with the idea of a creator, right? Or I find, baby, no, I'm doing a podcast, so you can use the bathroom. Sorry about that. She checking on me. All right. Yes. Anyway, this is a lovely description, right? So my premise is that people who are uncomfortable with the idea of a creator, especially those who like to make the argument about what kind of loving God would let babies die and blah, blah. Well, because, it's our responsibility, right? He gave it to us, and we allowed those bad things to happen. So, anyway, Psalm 24, right? I think you're familiar with the 23rd Psalm, right? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leads me beside the still waters, right? We know that one. But 24 is one of my favorites. So I'll jump into this one real quick. But again, this gives you a little indication, right? If we have negative feelings or negative ideas toward the Creator, it's my position, right? It's because we misunderstand, because we just don't know Him. If you really knew Him, you would, I think that you would, like I did, become in deep smit and be smitten and fall absolutely, unendingly head over heels, madly in love, and discover for myself that He's trustworthy, and He's good. And this makes up for when He is not very good about telling me what's going on, because I'm like, I need to know, like, why? Why is this happening? And He's not real terrific about telling me why, right? Mostly, what He wants to do is to heal my heart, right, and take me through that process. And that has been a long journey, and it's still not done. But what it does do is allows me to have compassion for others who have similarly broken hearts, and the courage to not leave the wounded lying on the battlefield, but to go back and get them, and grab them by the hand and walk them out, because I'm not afraid, right? It's not like a self-help group that I've gone to, right, or some new mantra that I've got, right? I don't have any merch to sell. I don't have any books, to, tell you how to do it, because, if you'll let Him, right, He will heal your heart. So, So, here we go. I'm going to, again, once, yep. Sorry, I was showing a lag for a second there, so I paused. All right, so I'm gonna read this one again, just again a description. I think we have a misunderstanding of who He is, and if you want to know, right, I think this well describes it. It gives you an idea of the kind of person He is. And it says, again, Psalm 24, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. For He founded it on the seas and established it on the waters. Who may ascend to the mountain of the Lord? Who may stand in His holy place? The one who has clean hands and a pure heart, who does not trust in an idol or swear by a false god. They will receive blessing from the Lord and vindication from God, their Savior. Such is the generation of those who seek Him, who seek your face, God of Jacob. Lift up your heads, you gates. Be lifted up, you ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in." Right? This is a beautiful tribute to who our Creator is, right? And what I discovered is that He is the very definition of love, right? So, anyway, so I want to just real quick do this. Say, if you'll take a moment with me. And I think, again, prayer is effective. When I ask sometimes on social media, right, say, "Hey, would you pray for me?" Often people will, give me advice, and I love that. But what I really want, right, when I ask for prayer, is just this prayer, right? Scripture tells us in many places it becomes incense before the Lord. It pleases him, right? And again, he knows our needs before we ask. It's not like we're telling him something he doesn't know, right? But what we are doing is trusting him. We're demonstrating that we're relying on him and we're trusting him for the outcome, even if it seems impossible right now, right? I know that no matter what, he's good. Even when I don't know why this is happening and it seems the most painful thing ever, I know that he's good. And that whatever comes, right, that even if I am harmed, right, just as it says in Job, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. And I truly, man, I'm 100%, like, threaten me with a good time, right? Get me the heck out of here. I'm good to go. And I trust that it would serve him. If that's what he wanted, right, it would serve his purpose. Yes, let's go. You know, there's no sense in doing it stupidly, right, and being a waste. But you know, I'm ready. Let's do this, right? Because they've turned the place into a shithole. I'm not trying to slag Dad's creation. It's perfection, but broken, right? And the enemy has been doing everything possible to break it and break us and steal from us who we are, our inheritance, right? The place in which we live, the realm, our history, our identity. Man, he's been stealing from us the whole time, right? The enemy is here to rob and steal and kill and destroy, right? But we cannot fight that enemy with you know, a Glock. We don't do that, right? And neither can we do it, you know, playing the, I'm sorry, but the Christianese game, right? Where you're going to, you know, I'm going to hold God to his promises. I got to trick him into it. Let me get out my legal thing here. And it says here in this contract that if I do this, he's going to do that, right? So you said, and again, Scripture is, it's a love letter, right? It says, hey, come check it out, right? That sense that you feel, that little thing in your heart that tells you there's something more, right? It's real. And then if you have the temerity, right, and the curiosity and the bravery, right, to track it down, when it becomes hard and painful and dark and you're lost and lonely, right, and when you can reach out and know that if he grabs your hand, you're going to be safe, right? When you know that, nothing else matters. And I've been through that enough to know that for me, right, it's enough. It's okay. I can't tell anybody else, right, that they should trust him like that, because you have to you have to do it yourself, and I can't be responsible for you, right? I mean, I suppose in a way I am if I'm sort of stating these things and fronting for him a little bit, but just because I love him so much, and I think that if you knew him, right, you would, you know, you'd be in love with him too, and it's all good, right? And yeah, he's good. And so you can trust him even in the most difficult of circumstances, right? That he's got it covered. And, right, that just, that, you know, religion gets in the way just because, you know, your pastor says something or whatever, right? And that's the way they do it. It seems, the way I read it, that he has an individual, unique relationship with each of us, right? Because he's testing our heart. It says he refines us, right? Like gold in the crucible. And so we must listen closely and follow him. And if we just take it like a religion and here are the rules and you follow that, but you don't ever talk to him, you don't ever interact, when push comes to shove and the lie comes, for this reason he'll send them a strong delusion that they should believe a lie. When that occurs, right, it will, I believe, for all intents and purposes, it will look very much like the right thing. It'll be scriptural, yeah, especially if you know Mandela is a thing. So who knows, it could change whatever, but it will seem to be the right thing to do, right? And again, if it were possible, even the elect would be fooled. So, yeah, that's so we thank him in advance of the gift, knowing that he's good, that he'll give it, and I'm okay with whatever that is, even if that is no, right? True love doesn't always mean giving somebody everything they want, you know? And humility doesn't mean calling yourself a worm, right? It just means setting your your pride aside, and acknowledging that only one of us in this relationship is perfect, and it's not me. So, so again, if you'll take a moment with me, I'd just like to pray. Say, Dad, thank you again so much for these lovely people. As few there are, and again, say I'm thrilled that every week I think I lose more subscriber count, and I love it, right? Because that's what I want. Like, I know it sounds weird, that really what I want. I mean, I want the right people, right? Not just like everybody, like Gideon, right? I want to have him narrow it down to the right people, and that's and I don't apparently have the wisdom to always know exactly who that is. So I trust Dad for that, right? And to show me where I should go and how to do this. So, Pops, again, I just thank you for hearing us, for loving us, for caring for us, right? And for all the gifts that you've given us. One of the things that I am so delighted and so grateful for it is the opportunity to meet these other beautiful people that you've made, and how they reflect your beauty and your love is amazing. And I simply want more of that. Dad, I know that I see every day that people are so busted and so broken, right? That they believe that slaughtering their entire family is a better way. And I know where that hurt comes from, and I know that kind of hurt, but Papa, please, I'm begging, right? When they cry, let us respond in prayer, in power, and stand in the gap, right, between the enemy and his children, right? That the most innocent are being preyed upon. Right? It cannot continue. But that's why I guess why we're here, right? It can't continue. And Dad's timing is perfect. It always is. And there's no waste in his economy. So, Daddy, thank you. And I just ask that you would, in a special way, bless every single person who has spent time here today. In a special way, I want to just say thank you for Michelle and having the courage to acknowledge her loneliness and to be open, right, to people that she may have never met, to come around her and present her with love and companionship. And Michelle, I would say that the people you're interacting with right now, I know Mama Love, right? And I know Young Love, right? I call her Lungs because anyway. But these are real people, right? And David Best, everybody in here is real. And they mean it when they say, if you're in a bind, if you're lonely, reach out, and we'll be there for you. And that's what Dad says for sure, right? And never promised again things would be easy. He said, in fact, it would be terribly hard. But he said, I will never leave you or forsake you, right, ever. And I have found him to be completely trustworthy in that. And again, I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm just asking you to give him a chance, right? Trust him and build that trust. Because every time, I think, if you find yourself in a bind, if you find yourself in a situation, why is the first thing that often comes to mind? And I will tell you my experience, he's not great about answering that. But if you specifically ask, right, and here's one of the first lessons I learned, right? Rather than asking for the burden to be lifted, ask for the strength to carry the burden, so that in the future I can carry more, and perhaps enough to carry somebody else's when they can't. And it's I think that is one of the first most important lessons that Holy Spirit taught me. So that we should share one another's burdens, right? And so we're here for each other. I'm legitimately here for you, as is Kevlar and Mama Love and Michelle. We mean it, right? When we say we'll come up beside you and come up around you, because and we can tell because you're drawn to the light, right? And so that's our people, right? The people who are drawn to the light, not drawn to the darkness, right? Those are another kind of people, and they are, right? But for us, we're drawn to the light, and I'm so glad that you're part of the crew. Like Kevin and oh god, I gotta tell you, just Mama Love. Like whenever we first laid eyes on each other, I knew who she was when she came running across the gazebo there, and she jumped in my arms, and I just picked her up, and it's like 90 pounds, so it went right. Yeah, I'm a pretty big guy. I just lifted her up off the ground, twirled her around like she was a toddler, and it was just sheer joy, right? We just had sheer, unadulterated joy at being each other's presence, and not having to deal with a bunch of freaking weirdos who trying to make themselves feel better at your expense. So dumb, right? I don't really care what they think, and the only one I really care what they think is Pops, because that's important to me. I think I've come to the end of what I had that makes sense. There are, in fact, some some updates, some medical stuff, but really, I'm a little bit in a pattern right now where they gotta hook me up to a bunch of electrodes and do a multi-day study on me that way, and that's the first thing for the other stuff. So long process, and I'm just trying to hold my head in there. Waiting. Everything's behind, right? So I'm waiting for the teeth to heal, or at least the mouth to heal, so I can get the implants fully set, so then I can maybe try to take some work for doing voiceovers or something, because haven't been able to work because stuff. So yeah, it's been a struggle, but right, Dad is always there. He helps us, but also thanks directly to those of you. And again, I always feel awkward about outing them, because I think it's. But thank you. You know who you are, right? And I want to thank you so much for the help that you've been able to provide, because again, it's always so timely, and it's always at the nudge of Dad, right? I don't feel like I have to twist anybody's arm. Again, I've never had any merch or anything, although maybe I will sometimes, like a FTFF shirt or something, just, something so you can be proud and tell everybody that, instead of a tinfoil hat, we'll get a Faraday fedora or something. This is why I'm here, right? Despite all the agony and the heartache of, getting your heart broke by people that you thought, people that you loved and you thought loved you, and I was very mistaken. And, just like everything, it's always a matter of the lies we tell ourselves. The red flags were all over it. I wanted it so bad. I wanted so badly for them to see it, right? And it looked like there was a chance. It seemed like there was a chance. And anyway, you guys are amazing and awesome. And I'm gonna throw this up here because Joe Ray, you might see him as Timeless Journey. I don't think he's in here right now, but he's the guy, one of the two guys who I started a band with way back in the day. So yeah, a long time ago, we played music, and so he, I don't know, we were talking just yesterday, we were talking about that I usually wake up with an earworm or a song firmly planted in my head the moment I wake up, and a lot of times it's a song I haven't heard in forever, like just weird stuff. Play your favorite song. What is that? What do you know it, Mama Love? Because I was going to play the one that that Joe told me that he woke up with in his head today, right? So it's probably not your favorite one, but I guarantee I'll play your favorite one later. But I think I'm going to do this one right now because it seems, I don't know, important that that Joe woke up with it today. So we'll throw it at you. It's called Q&A, and we wrote it in 15 minutes. And Joe had a lick, and I sat down and just said what I was thinking. I can't believe the questions you ask. Are you still my friend? You should know after all that has passed. can't believe the time that has passed, and it's getting dark. You should be almost home by now, but you're here in my heart, and yes, it makes me feel like a fool, knowing I haven't come through for you.